Welcome back, kings and queens, and welcome if you're new here. My name is Hope King, and I'm the designer of King's Designs MD. Today, we're going to do a quick deco mesh wreath, and you're going to need a few things. So you're going to need a 14-inch wreath form. You're going to need something to cut with, so either a pair of scissors or a rotary cutter and a mat. Again, make sure you get your deco mesh wreath and make sure it is the kind that rolls. There is tulle on a roll. You don't want tulle, you want deco mesh wreath because it curls back against itself. You're also going to need zip ties. I like to use zip ties to do my wreaths. And you're going to need some type of insert to do your wreath. So here we go. I already have a bag of deco mesh. And so what I like to do is put my deco mesh together in clusters of 3s. So I'm going to cut these open. And you're going to need 30 of these. So what I like to do is do 5 on each section of the wreath form. I hope you guys can see well enough. So what you're going to do, I have a bag of deco mesh beside me. What you're going to do is pull out 3 clusters. I like to just roll mine together. Some people like to roll theirs on angle. Whichever you do is fine. But I will say if you roll it like this as opposed to like this, this is thinner than this one. So you're probably going to need more deco mesh if you do this than if you do this. But I like to roll mine together in clusters of 3s. I run it through my zip tie. And if you can see, there are 4 rings on your wreath. You want to put the zip tie between rungs 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Your zip ties go behind rungs 2 and 3. You put your deco mesh on. And then you pull it. Now you can leave it loose for now if you want, or you can tighten it all the way up. But if you tighten it now, you won't be able to slide it where you want it to go. So you can leave it loose, or you can just go ahead and make it tight now. So we're going to do that again. Pulling out some more clusters. 1, 2, 3. Roll them together. You'll notice many times your clusters will stay rolled once you cut them. But if you have any issues, you can just roll them tighter. So we're going to go through rungs 2 and 3. And we will zip tie this. Now, I've said it in the video before, make sure your zip tie is facing the correct way. You'll feel the ridges against the front of your fingers, your front fingers rather, sorry. So you want to feel it on your fingers when you run it through, so that you can make sure you get it in the correct way. I want to make sure I didn't say that backwards. And the way you know it is if you hear the zipping sound. If you put it on and you don't hear the zipping sound, you need to flip it over so that you hear it zip. Now I flip mine over and you'll hear that zip tie sound. So I actually had to feel it against my thumb. So if I do this again, if I'm holding my zip tie, I need to flip it so the ridges are against my thumb and that part's facing up. That makes the little scoop part face down, if that makes sense. Kind of looks like the Big Dipper, but you want it to face down. At least that's the way my zip ties are made. Cluster of 3, so the ridges are against my finger. I'm going to run it through this part. And as it gets fuller, it gets a little bit more difficult to maneuver around the pieces, but you can slide them down. If it's too many clusters, you can slide them down. All right, I have zip tied 2 pieces together. So if you ever do something like that, just cut it off and keep it moving. Mistakes happen when you craft. So, try this again. Zip tie near my finger, run it through. Everything is clear, so nothing's in my way. Zip it and pull it. Now, I will say I like using zip ties because it has a clean finished background, but you saw what just happened. If you get your zip tie connected to another zip tie, which has never happened to me before until today, but it is what it is. If you get your zip tie connected to another one, you may lose a zip tie. I cut it off and pulled it through, so I didn't lose my zip tie, as you could just see. But for me, if you have dexterity issues and you can't use twist ties, some people like to use these pipe cleaners, and you can twist tie and twist them. I don't like doing all that twisting, so that's why I like the clean finish of this type of zip tie. You can always use a zip tie, but do what works for you. But this is what works best for me, so I'm going to finish this off. It is 5 pieces of deco mesh, 5 bundles of deco mesh, one each section. So we have 30 sections put together, and I just wanted to show you. You'll see all these pieces sticking up, and you just go in with your wire cutters and you just snip all these extra pieces off. They're already pulled tight as I want them to be, so I'll just go in and snip them off. If they're not tight, you can pull them tighter as you go along. And I'm flipping my piece over because I want to get it as close to the bottom as I can. And it takes a little bit of hand strength, but not too much. I just like trying to get mine close. So you just keep snipping. You probably could use a pair of scissors if that's all you have. But I just like using this. Once you get these all snipped off, you come back and you hot glue your decor piece on top. My glue gun is warming up. This is my decor piece that I'm going to put on it. As you can see, this was $1, so I did not get this from Dollar Tree. I actually got this from Dollar General. I am going to cut the hanging part off, the jute string off. And what I was trying to debate on, see, you have that big old hole there. I have used ribbon and put little bows on here before, but I was trying to debate on if I wanted to put a pearl at the top. So I think that looks really cute, if you can see it. So I'm going to add a pearl to the top of mine with my hot glue gun. So just get a dab of glue. Get my pearl on there situated. And then I'm going to add hot glue to my backer. You can add as much or as little as this as you think you need. Some people actually add E6000 to the back of theirs as well. I've never had to do that. But yeah, just make sure you go as quickly as you can so your glue can remain hot for you, especially if you have a big backer like this. Got to get around all those edges because that's the part that's going to catch against the fabric pieces. So I have glue on. Be careful not to burn yourself, and just put it on and push it down. Don't worry about pushing down too much because it's going to pop back up. It's just going to catch whatever glue is there. And I push my pieces in so I can get as much under the backer as possible. And I'm pulling to see if there's any more I want to get in there. If there's any spots that you feel like you can use some extra glue, go ahead and hit it with some extra glue and push it down so it can catch. Now keep in mind, I don't sell my wreaths. I just make them for myself. But what you have to keep in mind is these things are often going to be outside, the wind blowing and things like that. So you want to make them durable enough so that if the wind starts hitting your wreath, it can withstand the test of that. So this is the front of my wreath, and that's what it's going to look like. And I want to show you the back of my wreath, and you just see those little clear knots. I don't have to worry about twist ties hanging out. I don't have to worry about trying to cover the back of it. At least I don't cover the back of it. And if I wanted to sell it, I think I could sell it like this with no issue. I would just make sure these are cut down as low as possible or turned so they don't scratch up anybody's door or things like that. So just some things to keep in mind. Flip them, flip them down, flip them up so they don't scratch up your door. So again, things to keep in mind, but there you have it. Have a good day. I hope this helped somebody. If it did, go help somebody else. Have a good day.